So long, guys. It is your boy, day 24. I'm tired. I didn't get a lot of sleep. I got like five, and then I went back to sleep, and then woke up an hour later. So basically like 5.5 or like six hours of sleep. Anyways, we're back. Day 24 of the hard challenge, guys. Literally 3 more weeks, I think. Right? Let me just make sure I check the calendar. 3 more Mondays until I go to Japan. Oh my, I cannot wait, bro. I can't wait. Anyways, it's been your boy Parag. We did the walk today. Something light for me, you know what I'm saying? Easy. I didn't eat breakfast yet. I actually came back home. I'm gonna record this, do my workout. If you want to skip to that, today is just stretching and abs, and then tomorrow will be arms day. However, let's get on to the reading portion of the day. Usually, when it comes to the reading portion, we always read a question of the day from this book. What is the most important thing in your life? Important thing? Most important thing in my life? Probably myself. I would say I'm like, what do you mean by most important thing? Like, most important thing in your life. Well, first I'm just gonna say like my self-character, like my well-being, but like, and that's not to be like selfish, but just be like, at the end of the day, like you only have yourself, right? So, but when it comes to other aspects, not just me, important thing, I'll probably say like family and friends. Yeah, friends and family. Now, onto the reading section. We completed the first chapter. We're now on chapter 2. The first chapter was all about just politics, and I don't even know what was. I understood some points, but not all of it. This book, since this book is long as hell, we're gonna be reading chapter by chapter. Because if I read 10 pages, girl, we're gonna be here for like 40 minutes. All right. All right. Chapter 2. Pre-modern courtship, social certainty, and the rise of negative relationships. Okay. Anthony Trollope's 1884 novel of an old man's love offers a powerful, literary, illustration of the ways in which, in the 19th century, emotions were aligned with the social norm of matrimony. The author tells a story of the young Mary Laurie, an orphan who has been taught to live in the household of old Mr. Whittlestaff. Because Mr. Whittlestaff has never been married, Mary anticipates the delusion she will have to make when he proposes. She muses about her decision in the following way. She told herself that he personally was full of good gifts. How different might it have been with her had some elderly men wanted her, such as she had seen about in the world? How much was there in a man that she knew that she had could wait, what? How much was there in a man that she knew that she could love to learn to love? And he was one of whom she need in no wise to be ashamed. He was a gentleman, pleasant to look at, sweet in manner, comely and clean in appearance. Would not the world say of her how lucky she had been should it come to pass that she should become Mrs. Willowstaff? After an hours of deliberation, she thought she would marry Mr. Whittlestaff. These reflections are not formulated as an interrogation about her or Mr. Whittlestaff's feelings. In fact, she knows he will propose, although nothing explicit has been said. Her decision to such presumed proposal is also clear in a matter of 1 hour. Mary has settled with herself her matrimonial future by invoking and rehearsing mentally a set of arguments for accepting Whittlestaff's proposal. And these arguments have much to do with his virtues and what she imagines. The world would say, should she become his wife, she sees in him the same virtues that the world will see in him, thus suggesting an overlap between private and collective judgment. In conformity with sociological theories of looking glass self, Mary's decision incorporates the opinion of the world of her choice. Her own and the world's evaluation of Whittlestaff are shaped by known social scripts of the good man, by norms of metronomy, and by conventions of the proper role of a woman, as her evaluation of him and affection for him are grounded in common standards. When she makes up her mind, she participates in this known and common world. Her feelings and her decision incorporate all in one her sentiments, the economic advantage of marriage, and the social expectations of a woman in her situation. Feelings and norms form a single cultural matrix and shape directly her decision making. Okay. Mary's decision and later promise to marry the old man morphs into a dilemma when the reader is informed that 3 years earlier she had given her hand to John Gordon. Damn. The two young people had a brief encounters, enough to promise to marry each other after his return from South Africa, where he went to look for a fortune. Without any news from him for 3 years, Mary Laurie releases herself from her pledge and accepts Mr. Whittlestaff's proposal, and the drama of the novel starts when John Gordon reappears. That's crazy. Honestly, but from Mary's standpoint, it's like, if you haven't heard back from your man in 3 years, that's tough. And especially like back then, it's even harder because they didn't even have like technology. They have to do like a letter or some shit, but that's tough. When he comes back, okay. So when John Gordon reappears, thus making Mary face a second and much more dramatic act of choice, this time between two people and two different sentiments. She in particular must choose between breaking a promise to an old man she has affectionate fondness for and acting upon the emotional pledge made to a young man she was in love with 3 years beforehand. Because promise keeping was a fundamental value to the 19th century, English gentry and middle class, she makes the honorable decision and does not detest from her promise. It would be tempting to view the dilemma constructed by this novel as one opposing an emotional to a reasonable decision. Social duty to individual passion, but this would be merely confusing psychology and sociology. In fact, each of Mary's two choices is emotional, affection or love, and each is congruent with the norms of her environment. In both cases, Mary's sentiments are closely aligned with a normative order. To marry a man she has met 3 times without sexual contact, oh my god, is socially as respectable as marrying the old Whittlestaff. These two different emotional options lead to the same moral and social path of matrimony. In both cases, Mary's emotions move in a hierarchy's moral cosmos. In fact, it is through her emotions that she made the emotions that she's made to immerse herself in the normative cosmology of matrimony in the 19th century. Sociologically rather than physiologically, Mary's reasons, affection to Whittlestaff, and her impetuous love for Gordon, her personal feelings and social conventions form a single matrix. Moreover, however, confused Mary and other characters may be, they all know the terms of one another's hesitation. This is a world where everybody shares the same normative information about how the personal and the normative should be ordered. In fact, it is precisely because Whittlestaff knows the normative constraints under which Mary operates that he ultimately releases her from her promise. Promise keeping and institution of matrimony are normative orders that pervade desire and love and organization from within them. Emily Durkheim may be credited for being the first to have grasped what the collapse of such emotional, normative, and institutional order was about. Infrequently noticed by sociologists is the extent to which Durkheim's notion of anomie in his such frame wait in his such famed and is much famed and now canonically sociologically studied on suicide, referred to sexual and metronomal desire. In extraordinarily presentient words, Durkheim described the emotional structure of a new social type that had appeared in a French society, the single man. Okay. Through his enjoyment is restricted, it is assured, and this certain form that his mental foundation. The law of the unmarried man is different, as he has the right to form attachment wherever inclination leads him. He aspires to everything and is satisfied with nothing. This morbid desire for the infinite, which everyone accompanies anomie, may as readily assail this as any other part of our consciousness. It very often assumes a sexual form which was described by Mustet. When one is no longer checked, one becomes unable to check oneself. Beyond experienced pleasures, one senses and desires, if one happens almost to have exhausted the range of what is possible, one dreams of the impossible, one thirsts for the non-existent. How can the feeling not be exuberated by such unpending pursuits? For them to reach that state, one need not even have infinitely multiplied the experience of love and lived the life of Don Juan, okay, the humdrum existence of the ordinary bachelor sacrifices, new hopes constantly awake, only to be deceived, leaving a trail of weariness and disillusionment behind them. How can desire then become fixed? Being uncertain that it can retain what it attracts, for the anonymity is twofold. Just as the person makes no definitive gift of himself, he has definitive title to nothing. The uncertainty of the future plus his own indeterminateness therefore condemn him to constant change. The result of it all is a state of disturbance, agitation, and discontent, which inevitably increases the possibility of suicide. Durkheim here offers an extraordinary program for what we may call a sociology of desire and emotionally decision making. Some desires translate into direct decision making and some don't. The single man's desire is anomic because it undermines the capacity to will an object with a definite purpose. Anomic desire is neither depressive or empathetic. It is, on the contrary, restless, hyperactive, in perpetual quest of something, a state Durkheim goes as far as calling morbid. It is a desire that cannot enter marriage because it cannot create the psychic conditions to want a single object. It is a desire that probably lacks an object, and that, in lacking an object, is instantable. This creates a particular form of action, one that is at once in a perpetual motion and lacks an overreaching purpose. According to Durkheim, then, anomic desire has a number of characteristics. One, it has no teleology. That is, it does not have a purpose. It is free floating, free circling, and nomadic. It does not have a teleology because it is devoid of internal normative peg around which one could build an over-searching narrative structure. For a single man, the future is uncertain and cannot provide guidance for the present. The married man, on the other hand, has a known and certain future based on normative knowledge and participation. He knows which pleasures are waiting for him, and through the very institution of marriage is assured of their continued possession. In contrast, the single man cannot imagine the future and is locked in a present that contains only hopefulness, espérance, a far more vague and amorphous sentiment that's one projection in the future. Through espérance, one complains the potential of a new pleasure like to be short-lived. This type of desire displays the properties of anomie. It lacks integration, and one does not aim to participate in a social unit. Finally, in anomic desire, the subject's inner life, what Dermot calls his mental play, becomes indeterminate. moving from one object to the next and thus in a state of uncertainty, unable to make a decision of because of his inability to fixate desire on a person and an institution. The married man is the one who has by hold up, next page. I think it's the last page actually. Yep. Definition, hold up. Made the definition made a decision, while the single man can only accumulate identically experiences, desires, and partners without being able to bring the perpetual motion of his desire to an emotional and narrative closure of the decision. Uncertainty, accumulation, motion, and inability to imagine the future. All of these constitute the same of what Durkheim views as economic desire. Unable to appropriate social norms or to identify with institutions, an anomic desire exists on the plane of horizontal equivalence. They are not organized by a hierarchy of normative and teleological cosmos as trope story. Sexual anomie is thus many things at once, an excess of desire, a form of desire that originates itself unmoored from social norms, and precisely because of that, something indecisive, unable to fixate on an object. Yo, he's low key. This is low key talking about me. I'm not gonna lie. Like I feel like sometimes. Okay, that's what I was like on a video, but okay. Anyways, here a self-centered subjectivity does not have the trended clarity of needs and desires, but on the contrary, is diffuse, vague, ambivalent, and purposeless. Because such subjectivity is unable to feel clear emotions, it cannot propel itself forward along a narrative and normative path. Let me say this differently. The Durkheim single man is unable to reach a decision because his mental plate is not organized and around certainty. For Durkheim, the emotions can be a sort of certainty and decision making only if they are grounded to a clear normative structure. Durkheim offers here the grounds for a sociology of desire and emotional decision making, and helps articulate two grammars of social bond and emotional choice. One in which the desire is free floating, lacking in finality, organizing in subjectivity, and one in which the desire is organized through things external to itself, such as economic interests, norms of matrimony, and gender roles. These two grammars help formulate the paradox that is at the heart of sexual liberation. Desire liberty from normative constraints and from ritual structure obstructs emotional choice. The remainder of this chapter is devoted to exploring these grammars. Alright, so that's the last page for today. That's the last page for today. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of understand the fact that when it comes to like they're talking about a lot about like the single man versus married man, and it's like a lot of the time it's because like the single man, like they have no purpose, they're just like wandering around, they're not able to like fixate on one object. That's why like they're not grounded, like, and that's why like the choices they make aren't really that good, because they're always hopping one to one, whether it be a person or an object. With a married man, I guess they have more of like a clear structure, clear foundation, and they know what's gonna happen. Yeah, overall, that chapter was a pretty good chapter. Excuse me. But hey, that's the chapter for today. It's time for the workout. Peace. Okay, doing some stretching, making sure that the groin is on right, doing some butterflies. Overall, this was kind of painful, I'm not gonna lie, because the past few days I've been playing ball, but I haven't been stretching after, which is really important. But I kind of just shower and I'm so tired that I just knock out. So yeah, we're doing some stretching, making sure that the hammies are all good, quads, calves. I mean, doing some. You are a fat ass. This is called the clock stretch, I think. I don't know, but it really cracks your lower back. I'm not gonna lie. So this was pretty good. The next stretch was, I don't even know what I did here. I forgot low key. Oh, it's this one. I'm gonna keep preaching it. If you guys have sciatica, yo, please do this stretch. I promise you it will feel better after you do the stretch. I promise you, because it like decompresses like the sciatic nerve from your lower back. I'm telling you, it's really good. Next workout or next stretching, we're doing just, you know, front stretching, trying to touch both toes. Man, it was like every time I tried to like do it, bro, it was like burning. And now we're doing some 90-90s, making sure that the hips are all fire. I look mad awkward doing it, but you know, that's life. I feel like the shirt I'm wearing is too small. Anyways, now we're doing some quad. Dude, this was actually painful, bro. Like my quads were mad tight. I was just, yeah, it was really tight. Yep. And then next workout, pause. We're doing some calf stretching, making sure that, you know, it's all nice and not tight, because bro, tight calves can cause a lot of problems. I'm not gonna lie. One thing I gotta do is probably like do with my foot as well, but that's one other time. Oh, this one is real. This one, I heard my back crack too. Pause. It was really good. It was a good sensation in the back. And then finally, I just want to say pause, guys. The cat and moo, guys, just pause. Just okay, yeah. Anyways, now we're standing up, doing some stretching. You know what I'm saying? Arms, making sure the shoulders are all good. Shoulders in and out. Yup. Triceps. Stretch that over, not too shabby. Let's reach from behind. There we go. Now we're doing some toe touches. God bless them, still able to do that, because I know that some they can't. And if you can't, just work until you can. Now we're doing some star touches, you know, toe by toe, not too shabby. And then end it off by doing some like hip holds or knee holds, and then some hip grabs as well, just to, you know what I'm saying, just unlock the hips. Make sure it's all nice and loose. And this is called the pigeon stretch. I know this is like, yo, this angle is kind of crazy. I'm not gonna lie. This is kind of wild. I don't know if I'll hold up. Okay, next leg. Yeah, maybe I gotta change the angle. This angle is kind of crazy. I mean, I was low key on my phone while doing the stretch, so it was alright. Anyways, abs, doing some crunches, not too shabby. I did like 21 before I started dying. Overall, abs are pretty good. I'm working on it. Next workout, the cycling abs, not too shabby dabby. And then the last workout, we are just doing ended off with some side planks. All my new viewers, I do 2 sets. It's just that I only recorded the first set because, you know, the video is already long as it is. But hey, that is the workout of the day. Boom! I'm looking like a sexy mug. Let's be for real. Feeling good, looking good, and honestly, just gotta keep going until it's August 20th, guys. August 20th will be the last day of this challenge. But hey, let's go on to the breakfast. Breakfast, some light. I know it's kind of blurry. I like took the picture while I I took the picture while I was gonna sit down. But anyways, we got kiwi, apple, banana, and then we got a scoop and a quarter of oatmeal, milk, protein powder, one scoop of peanut butter, and some coffee beans. Onto the lunch. Okay. For the lunch, we had some chicken curry that my mom made, as y'all see, and then some quinoa salad. You know, overall, making sure it's healthy, but also maintaining the protein. And for dinner, your boy ate out. We had some Shelby's. We had a double chicken salad, actually. No garlic sauce, because that shit is high in calories. But overall, we had pickles, and underneath the chicken, I know it's a lot of chicken, but you know, protein. Below is just straight up lettuce, you know what I'm saying? And they had some like chips in there, like a flaky chip and like tomatoes and shit. It was good. But hey, thank you guys for watching. The video has been your boy Parag. Subscribe to all the channels y'all see in the picture. It's day 24. Day 25 coming at you guys tomorrow. Peace.